I'm Tara.
I'm Mike.
We are from livingonadime.com, and today we are talking about a really common problem: neighbors' dogs barking. Dun dun dun.
Dun, dun, dun.
So, just so you guys know, we have a lot of experience with this. This is our 5th house, I think, that we've had neighbors' dogs barking. And we're going to tell you how we have eliminated 90% of this. Now, it hasn't worked for every single dog. We've tried this on probably 30 dogs total, and all but about 2 it has really worked on. So it has been way worth the money. And it's super, super simple.
And it doesn't hurt the dogs, but it's a good way when your neighbors don't really want to believe that their dog is a problem.
Yeah.
It's a great way to try to resolve that without getting into an argument with them.
Yeah. So, what is it? It's this cute little birdhouse and this cute little green thing here. Now, depending on where you want to set this up at, the birdhouse is great for poles, trees, gardens, that kind of thing. The green thing blends in if you want to set it like in bushes or something like that. Now, I will say this green one, and we'll put the links, both of the links are in the description below, but...
What do they do? What do they do?
Well, I'm telling them.
I see.
But this one I think works a little bit better than this one, but it is more expensive. So, what do these do? You set them up, and you have to have a straight shot at the dog. So you can't be going through a wood fence or a plastic fence. It has to be a chain link or up and over a fence or in a hole through a fence. And you point it at the dog. When the dog barks, it sends off an ultrasonic signal. The dogs hate it, and they stop barking.
It's just a sound that's,
It's really that simple.
that the dog doesn't like.
Yeah, the dog doesn't like it, and it's that simple. This is the same thing, and you can go on low, medium, or high. Now, the drawbacks to these, okay, well, let's do the pros first. The pros are they work really, really well for most dogs. They work especially well for small to medium dogs, and they work pretty well for large dogs. Now, if you've just got a Rottweiler or German Shepherd or a Husky that is just barking and won't stop, these may or may not work. I personally think it's been worth the try to use them on those types of dogs. But for your neighbors, this is going to work. The cons are, and these are weatherproof. You leave them out, rain, snow, everything. The cons are, at first, you will go through batteries every 2 to 3 weeks. So buy extra batteries, but it only takes about 2 to 6 weeks for the dogs to really get it. 2 weeks to really start getting the hang of it, and 6 weeks, but usually they're trained by that time.
The way it trains them is when they make the sound, it does not make the sound unless they bark. Mm-hmm. And they have to bark pretty loud. And when they bark pretty loud, it hears the sound, and then it puts off the sound they don't like.
Yeah.
And the idea is the dogs are smart. They'll realize, oh, hey, I bark for no reason, and then it makes this awful sound. Yeah. And one thing that's important is it will not stop the dog from barking if the dog has a real reason to bark, like if somebody's trying to break into their house.
Yeah. So if they're just barking with the neighbor dogs and that kind of thing, it will stop it. But if someone's breaking in, it won't. The dog will still bark. The other con is, people have asked me, does it go through walls? No, it does not go through walls. It does not go through fences unless it's like a chain link fence. We have set it on a chair and shot it through to a chain link fence through, and it worked really well. We have put it on a pole and had it up over our fence shooting at our neighbor's yard to get the dogs to stop. That has worked pretty well. But you do need to have a direct shot
line of sight. So
line of sight, yeah.
Because essentially it's just a sound wave. It's just like a radio, and if it's behind something, it blocks the intensity of the sound, and then the dog doesn't realize, oh, I'm making this happen.
Yeah. And right now we have 13 dogs in the 6 houses behind us. And this has helped with almost all of those dogs except 2. And at the houses before this, it has helped every single dog. Before we moved here, every single dog it has helped. So really, it has been way worth the money, wouldn't you say?
Yes. Oh, did you talk about the cons? There was another one. If it's too far away.
Yeah.
It cannot be too far away. So, because one house we had 2 acres and lady's dog across the street, and she didn't. Some people get upset when you use these. I don't know why. It's not hurting their dogs. But we had one neighbor, and she didn't care that we used it, but she just didn't want to do anything to make the dog stop. So we lived on this 2 acres, and we had to put it all the way at the far edge of our property in order to be close enough for the dog to hear it. And that's the one thing.
Yeah.
If you have a really huge property, it needs to be within, I forgot what the range is.
This one's 100 feet, and this one is 50 feet, I believe. I think that's what it is still.
Also, we have a neighbor who uses it to keep her own dog quiet. Because, like I said, it's not hurting the dog, and she doesn't want her dog to be bothering everybody, and even herself.
Yes,
so she just keeps it out there for that purpose. So it's really a great thing. It's worked almost all the time. There's one other thing that you didn't mention. This one has a silent feature and a sound feature, and the silent feature works better on smaller dogs or medium dogs, but it seems to work fairly well on larger dogs. But the instructions that came with it said that for larger dogs that the silent feature doesn't work. There is a sound feature where you can hear it. It's not real loud to us, and it just basically sounds like, somebody blowing one of those bird pipes with the little water thing in it.
Yeah.
And the dogs just don't like that sound. So
yeah. And I will say, on Amazon, the reviews really aren't that great. But what I've noticed is people aren't using it correctly. They're trying to either shoot it through a wall, they're trying to do too far away. Like at our current house, we don't have it at our house. We have it at our fence, on a pole hanging over the fence, or hanging above the fence, not over the fence, but above the fence. And so people are usually not using it correctly. The batteries have run out. If you hear the dog start barking again.
All the time.
Yeah, all the time the batteries run out. The one neighbor that he said, occasionally I'll say, I think your batteries are out of your dog silencer. And she's like, oh, okay. And she goes and redoes them. So those.
Also, it doesn't do, if there are multiple dogs barking at the same time in the same location, it goes off in a way that they don't necessarily realize, oh, that's me, because all the dogs there are barking.
Yeah.
Or some people, I think, that were not rating it high, they just stick it out in their yard and they expect it to get all the dogs in every direction from their house. But it actually has to point in the direction of the dogs that are troubling you.
And I will say, we have had this one since 2003. And this is 2017. So 14 years. We've had this one 14 years. And this it was $100. Now it's not that expensive. Now it's less. And this one is about $30. The price has come way down since we bought it. But we got our money's worth out of this one. It's just been heaven sent, to say the least. So anyway, if you guys have any other questions, please leave them in the comments below. I do answer all of the questions, especially on this, because I know this is such a hard topic for people, and you really don't want to be, at odds with your neighbors. But it is a major problem, and we do realize, the majority of people who have dogs barking either don't know they're barking or don't care they're barking.
Well, a lot of them aren't home when their dogs bark, and so they think I'm not hearing it, so it's not happening. And then everybody else just doesn't want to, it's awkward to go say something to somebody, so nobody tells them.
Yeah. So this is a good way to keep peace in the neighborhood and to save your sanity at the same time. It's in the description below. Please like, subscribe, and share, and we will see you guys next time.
Bye.